Now, as we move from the 2 years of pandemic to a post-pandemic era, there has been a growing demand for remote working and more flexibility at work. So the caught in betweens are the small and medium enterprises who don't know what's the best way to move forward. So how can small businesses navigate work from home expectations? How can small businesses manage the remote working flexibility? So there are three steps to it. There are three steps that small businesses could follow to ensure a more flexible work culture and address this growing demand from their employees and the workforce. So we will discuss the three steps in this video today. So first is, let's understand the state of the global workforce. Now, the latest report from Gallup, the State of the Global Workplace 2022, was released sometime last month. So a couple of findings from the Gallup report: 79% employees surveyed worldwide claimed to be disengaged at work. Now, 60% said that they are emotionally detached, while another 19% claimed to be actively disengaged. So only about 21% employees surveyed claimed to be engaged at their workplaces. Now, this number is alarming, even considering the last 2 years of disruptions and the mental stress that people had to go through. And this is about 10 percentage points higher than the previous report by Gallup. So this definitely is alarming. Let's look at some other statistics. I have put down some statistics for you. So as per one report by Coso Cloud, 77% remote workers say that they are more productive when they are working from home. In a flex job survey, 75% people prefer remote working as there are fewer distractions. Now, these are what employees feel. What do employers feel? So in a survey, in a report by IBM Institute for Business Value, 61% CEOs believe that empowering remote workforce is an important part of their organization strategy. So CEOs are looking forward to this growing need for remote working, and they are making this a part of their organizational strategy. Then there's the benefit to the environment too. As per a report from the state of telecommuting reduces greenhouse gas emissions equivalent to the emission from 600,000 cars. So all the perspectives, employees, employers, and the environment advocate more flexibility at work and more remote working. But the question remains, how can small businesses manage a remote working culture? And that's what we will discuss in this video today. Now, in another study by Owl Labs reports that 74% workers say that having a remote work opportunity would make them less likely to leave a company. 69% millennials claimed that they would be willing to let go of certain work benefits for a more flexible work culture. So the question again is, how can companies, especially small and medium enterprises, navigate work from home expectations of their employees? So what is the impact of remote working on employee productivity and output? Now, a lot of reports and studies claim that employees working at home are, if not more, equally productive. And the most important is they are able to better manage their work-life balance. So there definitely is a case for allowing more and more remote work. But for that, the basic fundamental of how performance is measured in traditional offices needs to needs a revamp. Now, there is a myth that time spent in office is equal to productivity. This myth needs to be busted. The nature of work has evolved in the last few decades. So the success of all job roles cannot be measured as a factor of number of hours spent in office at work. You cannot judge the effectiveness of an HR recruiter or a software developer based on the number of hours they spend on their machine. It has to be measured in terms of output. Hence, the entire traditional way of measuring an employee's contribution, productivity, and effectiveness needs a change for companies to really move towards a more flexible and more remote working culture. So as I said, there are three steps to manage work from home expectations. The first one is define KPIs. As we just spoke about, to change the way productivity, efficiency, and contributions are measured, we need to define the KPIs once again. So what are the expected outcomes for each job role? Don't talk about the number of hours that we need to work. talk about what is the outcome that you expect from each job role. The second step is once you have the KPIs defined, revisit job descriptions. Clearly define who does what by when. Make it clear for the employees, for the supervisors, for HR, for managers, and for employers who does what by when. And the final step is segregate activities. What activities can be managed while working away from office? We'll discuss each of these three in detail. So the first step, as we said, is to define KPIs. So it's time to get back to the drawing board, get all stakeholders together and discuss the expected outcomes for every job role. Define relevant performance KPIs for each role. The performance metrics need to be a good mix of effort and result KPIs. So what do you expect from an HR recruiter? What do you expect from a social media manager? What do you expect from an accountant? Talk about the outputs and document that, talk to the employee, convey it to them that how is performance, productivity, efficiency going to be measured going forward. Then we move on to the next step, which is revisit the job descriptions. The job descriptions have to be as detailed as possible. This is to remove any ambiguity when employees are working remotely from their home or from any other places. Think through the tasks you want each employee to accomplish to meet the KPIs listed in the previous step. So the important part is a good thumb rule, as we say, is to check if each activity can be rephrased in who does what by when format. This makes the expectations clear and can be easily linked to the performance KPIs. So tell the employees what you expect them to do once every week or twice every week or once in a day or twice in a month and how to do it. That will help them prepare a schedule irrespective of where they are working from. And then the third step is to segregate activities. So segregate activities in three groups. First, activities that need the employee to be physically present in the office. This could be, for example, if somebody is in charge of store operations and needs to package goods to send out to customers, that activity has to be done from the warehouse or the location of the office. That can't be done remotely unless you have robots doing that job for you. Second is tasks that need the employee to visit an external location, such as a client's office, a vendor, or an event, etc. This again, the employee can't manage remotely because there is a business requirement for him to visit a client or a vendor. For example, you may have a vendor developing certain parts for you, and those need physical inspection. So in that case, your employee has to travel to the vendor's warehouse or production facility and physically inspect those parts. The third is tasks that can be accomplished remotely. So once you have the KPIs listed, as per the KPIs, then you would mention the job description, what is that the employee needs to do every day, every week, every month. And then you segregate all those activities in these three groups. So the number of activities that fall in the third group would clearly define the amount of time each week that the employee can work remotely. So this sets very clear ground rules for the employer and for the employee of how much time per week can you allow every employee to work away from the office. Then there is no ambiguity. The employee understands what activities want him or require him to travel to the office. So it could be 2 days in a week. It could be 3 days in a week. It could be 1 day in a week. But once you complete these three steps, it gives you a clarity and a mutual understanding between the employer and the employee. So understand that the best is that you aim for a uniform division of work. So can you manage to create, for example, a 50-50 hybrid work classification for similar job roles? So it won't help, for example, if some employees have the flexibility to spend 70% work hours working remotely, while some others only get 25% remote work time. So ensure that people working at the same level, so maybe all executives, all managers, all supervisors, they should have somewhere a uniform division of work. So it could be maybe somebody gets a 40% remote time, somebody gets 50%, but a 40 for one and an 80% for another would create some disruptions. And then the best way would be that you incentivize people coming to office. So add additional allowances, maybe additional travel allowances for days that somebody travels to work. And another important factor here is that you also need to understand the comfort of the employee. There are some people who are not comfortable working from home because maybe they lack that work infra in their homes. So they would rather want to travel to office. In these cases, ensure that they are able to travel to office and work from office without being victimized by others who want more opportunities to work remotely. So follow these 3 steps. Define the KPIs, then revisit job descriptions, make it very clear what do you expect each employee to do. So who does what by when? And then remember that priorities have changed. Hence, the segregation of activities helps you clearly define how much time an employee is supposed to be working from office and working remotely. Employees today need support and encouragement to manage a healthy work-life balance. A hybrid work environment is hence a step in the right direction. The last couple of years have been very difficult for one and all. So now the priorities have changed. People are re-evaluating their aspirations and preferences, and they are willing to let go of certain financial incentives for a better work-life balance. This is where, as employers, we need to pitch in and help them achieve a better work-life balance, spend more time with their families, and at the same time, be equally and more productive than what they were a couple of years ago. And we have technology to thank. Companies have been quick to move work from physical offices to cloud. Now the data and everything is in the cloud, which can be accessed from any mobile device, any laptops connected anywhere in the world. So when technology allows and when employees demand that, and a lot of studies reveal that working remotely, working away from office has not impacted productivity or output of work, there clearly is a case when we need to revisit how we traditionally measure employee contributions and performances and allow them more flexibility. This is going to create a winning culture at work. So hope these 3 steps help you clearly define how much time could you allow your teams to work remotely. Thank you for making it to the end today. We'll be back with more videos on how to make remote working beneficial for your company and how to create a winning and engaging team culture. So do share and subscribe to our channel, and thank you very much.